Howdy. So lately, I've been thinking about sustainability a lot. It's something I've been reading a little bit about. And when you think about sustainability, the first thing that usually comes to mind is the environment, right? Think about that water bottles are bad and trash is bad, but any product that has a green label on it is somehow good. That's kind of strange. But it's the idea behind sustainability that's really capturing a lot of attention and what captured my attention. And the idea is that what if everything we consumed during our lifetimes could be recycled, reused, and repurposed so that our children would have the same amount of resources and opportunities that we had, if not more. And if you take that idea and translate it into the business world, something truly magnificent happens. The idea is, what if we could create a company where we put into place practices that would ensure our organization would be around for 50 or 100 years and operate just as well as it has been all that time, so that maybe our grandchildren could run it. That got me thinking about the founders of my fraternity. What were they thinking about when they created Delta Chi? They certainly spent a lot of time, and all of our founders spent a lot of time looking at the creeds, the emblems, the rituals, and all of that stuff to really make our organization truly great. But were they thinking about my experience today? You know, all those things they created are used almost unchanged today. Very few companies maintain the same logo that they had in 1900. Our marks are timeless. So there's something to that. You know, were they thinking about our experience today and what it would be like, or were they just focusing on setting up the organization to be successful? So that got me thinking about my own chapter, and what was I doing to make sure that my chapter was sustainable? Were they going to be around for 50 or 100 years? What was I doing to contribute to that? And when I looked at my own chapter, I saw some pretty good things. I saw some things that made me proud, but I also saw that some members of my chapter were taking too many cookies from our cookie jar and not baking any cookies to replace them. And I realized that if we ran out of cookies in our cookie jar, the fun was going to be over. And I think you know what I mean when I say that. So let me go on a tangent for a second here. When I tried ice cream as a child for the first time, I fell in love. Snickers ice cream was my absolute favorite. And the problem, though, is one day someone came up to me and said, why don't you just flip your spoon upside down so that all the ice cream goes on your tongue when you eat it? That simple change changed my world. So my challenge for you with that is, look at your chapter, look at your council like a spoon. Sure, it can function just as it is right now, just fine. There's good things and there's certainly bad things. But what if you simply flipped your spoon once in a while about how you thought about things? What if you flipped your spoon about what it meant to be successful? Quite frankly, what good is an award or a great party or reputation if your chapter gets shut down in 3 years because some members were too busy taking cookies from the cookie jar? So I recently read a book about sustainability for businesses. And in there, they offered a good strategy for sustainability that I drew a lot of parallels on for Greek life. And I want to share with you briefly some of the things I took away from that book that I think are directly able to be applied to our experience. First, we have to realize that hosting events these days is expensive. What we choose to do as organizations should show what we value. Don't try to be everything to everybody. Be intentional about what you do and how much you do. We also need to realize that the collegiate landscape is changing. Business is not as usual. The recipe for success for Greek life from the 80s is simply not sustainable on today's campus for very long. We also have to make sure that we realize that members are the most important part of our organization. At any point in time, a single member can make or break our organization and its success on campus. We have to spend the time to make sure we're making good decisions about who we let into our organizations and who we educate and bring into that bond we have. The next thing is that people can see what we do every day and every night. We can no longer hide behind an awards packet or a few good community service initiatives if we're out there party rocking 5 days a week. People see that. Much of what you learn as an officer, as a chairman, on your council, on campus, or in your chapter is going to be outdated by the time you graduate. Don't worry about it. Don't stress about the details. Make sure you're teaching your newest members the most important things they need to know so that your chapter can be successful. And speaking of success, what makes chapters successful is the fact that they're able to act. They're able to take advantage of opportunities that present themselves and capitalize on them. So true winning means that your chapter is able to really do that, to be flexible and agile when needed. If you're not able to do that, you're not going to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves, and you're going to miss out on things. And finally, your organization's reputation is the institutional knowledge that's going to supersede your time on campus. Once you graduate, what's left is what people know of your organization, partly of what you've done. And if you spend your time acting intentionally about making that reputation good, people are going to see value in your organization, and they're going to look after it when it needs help. So all this information I'm giving you, it depends on what you do with it. Will you be the person who helps make your chapter or your council on campus more sustainable for the future? It's up to you. Thanks.